Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about two powerful concepts that have shaped societies, nations, and individuals throughout history, kingdom, and culture. These two words may seem simple, but when you dive deeper, you'll discover they hold the key to understanding how to live with purpose, clarity, and alignment. A kingdom is not just about land or political power. It's about a realm governed by a higher authority as sovereign. In a true kingdom, everything flows from the king. The laws, the customs, the priorities, they're all a reflection of the king's will. When we understand this, we realize that a kingdom is not just a physical place, but a way of living. It's a system of order, leadership, and governance that dictates how life should be conducted. Every kingdom has its own culture. Culture isn't just about music, food, or language. It's about values, principles, and ways of thinking. The culture of a kingdom reflects the heart and mind of its king. What the king believes in, how the king leads, and the vision the king sets, that's what defines the culture of the people. The culture, in turn, shapes the way people live their lives. It influences how they treat one another, how they think about success, and what they prioritize. But here's where things get interesting. There's a vast difference between a kingdom mindset and a worldly culture. A kingdom mindset is focused on fulfilling the vision of the king, serving a greater purpose, and contributing to the greater good. In contrast, worldly culture often celebrates individualism, self-interest, and personal ambition above all else. The challenge for us is to adopt a kingdom mindset, one that goes beyond just thinking about ourselves and instead focuses on the principles that lead to collective prosperity, peace, and progress. In a kingdom, citizens are not just passive inhabitants, they are representatives of the king. Everything they do reflects on the kingdom they belong to. If they are aligned with the king's vision, they live lives of purpose, unity, and harmony. They become ambassadors of the culture, bringing the values of the kingdom wherever they go. This responsibility calls for an alignment between what the king stands for and how the citizens live their lives. Your culture defines your identity. You see, when you belong to a kingdom, you don't just live by its rules, you embody its values. Your actions, your speech, and even your thinking align with the principles of the kingdom. If the culture is one of love, service, and justice, then those values become part of who you are. In this way, culture shapes not just what we do, but who we become. Now, imagine what happens when kingdom principles begin to influence a broader society. Real transformation takes place. When the principles of love, peace, justice, and compassion, principles that come from the heart of a kingdom, start to shape the culture around us, it leads to a community that thrives. Division to unity. Hatred is replaced by love, and is replaced by love, and disorder is transformed into harmony. This is the power of kingdom culture. It can transform not only individuals, but entire nations. Finally, living by the culture of a kingdom is not automatic, it's a choice. It requires intention, discipline, and focus. To truly embody the values of the kingdom, you must reject the distractions of the world's culture. This means stepping away from materialism, selfish ambition, and the pursuit of empty pleasures. Instead, focus on internalizing the values of the kingdom principles that promote growth, strength, and peace. This is not easy, but it is the path to true fulfillment. In closing, I want to encourage you to reflect on the culture you live by. What values guide your life? Are they aligned with the kingdom you claim to belong to? Remember, culture shapes not just the world around us, but who we are at our core. When we choose to live by kingdom principles, we create a culture that reflects the highest ideals and brings out the best in everyone. A kingdom is far more than just a piece of land or a political entity. It is a structure of authority, a way of life governed by the sovereign at the top. In a true kingdom, everything stems from the king's will. Nothing exists outside of his influence. Every law, custom, and tradition comes from his desire and vision for his people. Unlike a democracy, where people vote and voices clash, in a kingdom, the king's word is final. His authority is absolute. The king embodies the essence of the kingdom, and his decisions shape the environment in which everyone lives. This is critical because in a kingdom, the king's role is not just to govern, but to protect and provide. His responsibility is to ensure the well-being of his people, and his power is not derived from them, but from his position. He governs not by the consent of the people, but by his inherent right. This is why a kingdom is built on loyalty, and trust citizens look to the king for guidance, security, and for provision. The king's vision dictates the direction of the kingdom. If he desires prosperity, then everything within that territory is aligned to achieve that goal. Every institution, every law, and every policy exists to manifest that vision. The king's purpose is not just to rule, but to create an environment where his people can thrive. In return, the citizens follow his leadership, trusting that the king's intentions are for their good. In a kingdom, your identity is directly tied to the king. You are not just a subject living in a space, you are a citizen under the rule and care of the sovereign. You reflect his values, his vision, and his character. This is what makes a kingdom so distinct from any other form of governance. It's personal. It's not about systems or structures, but about relationship, responsibility, and reflection. The kingdom is not just a place you live, it's an identity you embody. Culture is the outward expression of the values, principles, and beliefs that originate from the heart of a kingdom. It is a direct reflection of the one who governs. When you look at a kingdom, the culture you see, whether it's the way people speak, behave, or even how they treat one another, is rooted in the values set by the king. Culture is not random, it is intentional, designed to reflect the king's desires and vision for his people. Every kingdom carries its own unique culture. This culture is shaped by the king's vision and how he chooses to govern. If the king values justice, fairness, and compassion, then the culture of the kingdom will reflect those values. People will live in harmony, treat one another with respect, and strive to uphold the principles that the king has established. If the king prioritizes peace, you will see it in the way conflicts are handled, how people engage with one another, and how laws are enforced. Culture is what binds the citizens together. It gives them a sense of identity and purpose, a common language that allows them to understand their place in the kingdom. When citizens live in alignment with the culture of the kingdom, they are, in essence, living in harmony with the will of the king. Their behavior, attitudes, and actions are in sync with the values the king promotes. It's not just about following rules, it's about embracing a way of life that reflects the character and vision of the one who leads them. This is why culture is so powerful. It is more than just customs or traditions. It's a reflection of the core beliefs of the kingdom. It shapes how people think, how they interact, and even how they dream about the future. A kingdom's culture is visible in every part of life, from how people conduct business, to how they raise their families, to how they handle adversity. The king's influence permeates every aspect of life, creating a unified sense of purpose among the people. Ultimately, when you observe the culture of a kingdom, you are observing the heart of the king. His values are what shape the environment in which his people live. Culture is the visible evidence of an invisible authority, the manifestation of the king's desires lived out through his people. And as the king's vision evolves, so too does the culture, constantly aligning itself with his will and purpose. There's a significant difference between a kingdom mindset and the way the world operates. When we speak of a kingdom mindset, we're talking about an entirely different approach to life. In a kingdom, the focus is always on the will of the sovereign. Everything flows from a single source. And the purpose of the citizens is to align themselves with the desires and vision of the king. This is a mindset rooted in purpose, service, and obedience. It's not about individual success or ambition. It's about fulfilling the greater plan that's been laid out by the one in authority. In contrast, worldly culture tends to prioritize self-interest, personal ambition, and individual gain. The world teaches that success is about rising above others, making a name for yourself and accumulating as much as you can, regardless of the impact on those around you. It glorifies independence, the idea that you can do everything on your own without needing direction or guidance from a higher source. This creates a culture driven by competition, comparison, and personal gratification. But the kingdom mindset is fundamentally different. In a kingdom, the focus is on the collective good, not just the individual. Success in a kingdom is measured by how well you serve the vision of the king and how you contribute to the overall well-being of the kingdom. It's not about outdoing others or proving yourself superior. It's about working together to fulfill a higher purpose. The kingdom mindset prioritizes unity, cooperation, and alignment with the values set by the king. Where worldly culture seeks power and status, the kingdom mindset is focused on humility and service. In the world, leadership often means domination and control, but in a kingdom, true leadership is about serving others and uplifting those around you. This is why the kingdom mindset challenges the very foundation of worldly thinking. It calls for selflessness, submission to authority, and a commitment to a greater cause than just personal gain. In worldly culture, people are often driven by fear of failure, fear of not measuring up, fear of losing what they have. This leads to a mentality of survival, where the focus is on protecting oneself, guarding one's position, and striving to maintain control. But the kingdom mindset operates on faith, trust, and security in the king's provision. When you're part of a kingdom, you don't have to live in fear because your provision, protection, and future are in the hands of the sovereign. Your success is not dependent on your ability to manipulate or control situations. It's based on your alignment with the king's will and purpose. The kingdom mindset offers a different perspective on life. It shifts the focus from what can I get to how can I serve. It transforms ambition into purpose and replaces competition with cooperation. While the world encourages people to take control, the kingdom mindset teaches us to trust in the authority of the one who governs, knowing that true success comes from fulfilling our role in the greater plan, not just pursuing personal achievements. In a kingdom, citizens hold a unique and vital role that goes beyond mere residents. They are the embodiment of the king's vision and purpose. Each citizen is not just a subject, but an essential participant in the life of the kingdom. Their lives reflect the principles, and teachings of the sovereign, and they have the profound responsibility of representing the kingdom wherever they go. This representation is not just about maintaining appearances, it's about living out the ideals that the king embodies. The role of citizens is deeply interconnected with the overall health and success of the kingdom. When citizens align themselves with the king's vision, they contribute to the unity and strength of the community. They become active participants in shaping the culture, fostering an environment where the king's principles can thrive. Their actions and attitudes serve as a testament to the effectiveness of the king's rule. Each citizen's life is a reflection of the kingdom's values, and how they conduct themselves has a direct impact on the kingdom's reputation. Citizens also have a duty to uphold the laws and customs established by the king. These laws are not arbitrary. They are designed to maintain order, promote justice, and create a harmonious society. By adhering to these laws, citizens affirm their commitment to the kingdom and its leadership. They become ambassadors of the culture, demonstrating through their behavior how the kingdom operates and why it is beneficial for everyone. This commitment requires an understanding of the laws and a willingness to live in accordance with them, even when it may be challenging or countercultural. Moreover, citizens have the privilege and responsibility of contributing to the advancement of the kingdom. Each individual possesses unique gifts and talents that can be utilized for the benefit of the community. Whether through service, leadership, or innovation, citizens are called to invest their abilities in ways that uplift and enrich the kingdom. This engagement fosters a sense of belonging and purpose, as each citizen recognizes that they play a crucial role in the larger narrative of the kingdom's success. Additionally, citizens are expected to support one another. In a kingdom, the strength of the community lies in its unity. When citizens come together to help one another, they create a culture of love, respect, and support. This mutual care not only strengthens individual relationships, but also fortifies the kingdom as a whole. When citizens stand together, they become a formidable force that embodies the very principles the kingdom is built upon. Finally, the role of citizens extends to the next generation. They have a responsibility to pass on the values and teachings of the king to those who come after them. This is about creating a legacy that preserves the culture and ensures that the kingdom continues to thrive. When citizens take seriously their role as mentors and guides, they lay the foundation for a strong, vibrant future for the kingdom. In this way, each citizen plays a crucial part in both the present and the future, ensuring that the kingdom remains a beacon of hope, purpose, and strength for generations to come. Culture plays a pivotal role in shaping identity, profoundly influencing how individuals perceive themselves and their place in the world. It is through culture that we gain a sense of belonging, purpose, and direction. When we immerse ourselves in the culture of a kingdom, we begin to adopt its values, beliefs, and practices, which in turn molds our identities. This process is not passive. It requires active engagement and intentionality as we internalize the principles that define the kingdom. As citizens of a kingdom, our identity is inextricably linked to the culture that surrounds us. We absorb the norms and customs which become woven into the fabric of who we are. This cultural identity informs our actions, thoughts, and interactions with others. It shapes how we respond to challenges, how we communicate, and how we envision our futures. When we embrace the culture of the kingdom, we start to reflect its ideals, embodying the principles that the king represents. The values instilled by the kingdom's culture serve as a guide, influencing our decision-making and life choices. For example, if the kingdom promotes values such as integrity, love, and service, these ideals will become central to our identity. We begin to see ourselves as ambassadors of these principles, tasked with living them out in every area of our lives. This understanding fosters a deep connection to the kingdom, creating a sense of purpose that transcends mere existence. Moreover, culture not only shapes our individual identities, but also reinforces our collective identity as citizens of the kingdom. When we come together to celebrate cultural traditions, share common experiences, and uphold shared values, we strengthen our bond. We strengthen our bond as a community. This collective identity is powerful. It fosters unity and solidarity among citizens, allowing them to work together towards common goals. As we engage with one another, we reinforce the kingdom's culture, ensuring that its values remain alive and vibrant. Cultural identity also provides us with resilience in the face of adversity. When challenges arise, it is often our connection to our culture and the values we hold dear that sustains us. The knowledge that we are part of something greater than ourselves instills a sense of belonging and purpose. This cultural grounding empowers us to overcome obstacles and navigate life's complexities, rooted in the principles that the kingdom embodies. Ultimately, culture shapes our identity by offering us a framework through which to understand ourselves and our roles within the kingdom. It influences our worldview, our relationships, and our aspirations. As we live out the values of the kingdom, we not only define our identities, but also contribute to the larger narrative of the kingdom itself. In this way, culture is not just an external influence, it becomes an integral part of who we are, guiding us as we strive to fulfill our purpose as citizens of the kingdom. Cultural transformation begins when the principles of a kingdom are allowed to penetrate and influence every aspect of society. True change happens not through superficial adjustments, but through a deep foundational shift in values, mindsets, and behaviors. Kingdom principles, values like love, justice, integrity, and service carry the power to reshape not only individuals, but entire communities, because they address the core of what drives human behavior. When these principles are adopted and embraced by citizens, they start to impact the culture in ways that ripple through every part of life. One of the first effects of kingdom principles is that they bring clarity. In a world often filled with confusion and conflicting priorities, kingdom values provide a clear path forward. They help people understand what is truly important and align their actions with a higher purpose. This alignment creates a culture of focus and direction, where people know what they are working toward and why it matters. It's not just about following rules, but about embodying a way of life that reflects the vision and purpose of the kingdom. As individuals embrace kingdom principles, their behavior begins to change. They move from self-centered pursuits to a mindset of service and contribution. The kingdom teaches that life is not about personal ambition or gain, but about how we can contribute to the greater good. When people begin to live out this principle, the culture shifts from one of competition to one of cooperation. People start to see each other not as rivals, but as collaborators, all working toward a shared goal. This unity brings about a transformation in relationships as love and respect become the guiding forces. Justice is another key kingdom principle that, when integrated into a culture, transforms how people interact and treat one another. In many societies, injustice prevails because the culture tolerates inequality and unfair treatment. But when justice is at the center of a kingdom, it begins to reshape the very fabric of society. Laws, policies, and systems are restructured to reflect fairness and equality. People begin to see each other as equals, deserving of dignity and respect, regardless of their background or status. This cultural shift fosters a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and succeed. The principle of integrity, too, plays a crucial role in cultural transformation. Integrity means doing what is right, even when no one is watching. And when this becomes a cultural norm, it elevates the standard of living for everyone. In a culture rooted in integrity, trust is built. People can rely on one another, knowing that their word is their bond. Business governance and everyday interactions are conducted with honesty and transparency, creating a stable and trustworthy environment. When integrity becomes a cultural pillar, corruption and deceit lose their hold, and a new standard of ethics is established. Kingdom principles also promote growth and development. The kingdom is always forward-looking, always seeking ways to improve and enhance the lives of its citizens. When a culture adopts this mindset, it becomes one of innovation and creativity. People are encouraged to explore new ideas, take risks, and push boundaries, all in pursuit of fulfilling the kingdom's purpose. This spirit of growth leads to advancements in education, technology, and the arts, as citizens are empowered to use their talents to benefit the kingdom. A culture that embraces growth fosters an environment where people are continually learning and evolving, both individually and collectively. Perhaps the most profound cultural transformation that kingdom principles bring is the creation of peace. In a world often marked by conflict, division, and chaos, the kingdom offers a culture of peace. This peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but the presence of harmony, order, and balance. It comes from living in alignment with the king's will and purpose, knowing that every citizen plays a part in maintaining the well-being of the community. When peace becomes a cultural value, it transforms how people approach disagreements, challenges, and even failures. They learn to resolve conflicts with understanding, patience, and love, knowing that unity is far more powerful than division. Ultimately, cultural transformation through kingdom principles is about creating an environment where people can flourish. It is a transformation that starts within individuals and spreads outward, affecting families, communities, and entire nations. When a culture is rooted in the timeless values of the kingdom, it becomes a beacon of hope and progress, leading to a society where justice, integrity, growth, and peace reign supreme. This is the power of kingdom principles. They don't just change behavior, they change the very essence of a culture, making it a reflection of the highest ideals. Living by kingdom culture means adopting a way of life that is deeply rooted in the values and principles established by the king. It's more than just adhering to a set of rules. It's about embracing a mindset and a lifestyle that reflects the heart and purpose of the kingdom. When you live by kingdom culture, every decision, every action, and every thought is guided by a higher standard, one that prioritizes service, love, and integrity over self-interest and personal ambition. The first step in living by kingdom culture is understanding that your life is not your own. In a kingdom, the citizens exist to fulfill the vision of the king. This requires a shift in focus from self-centered desires to a life of purpose driven by the king's will. It means recognizing that your talents, gifts, and resources are not just for your benefit, but are meant to serve the greater good of the community. Living by kingdom culture is about aligning your life with the vision and direction of the king, knowing that when you do, you not only fulfill your purpose, but contribute to the flourishing of the entire kingdom. One of the key characteristics of kingdom culture is obedience. In the world, people often resist authority, seeking to do things their own way. But in a kingdom, obedience to the king's commands is essential. This obedience is not out of fear or obligation, but out of trust. Trust in the king's wisdom, his provision, and his protection. When you live by kingdom culture, you understand that the king's rules are not meant to restrict you, but to guide you toward the best possible life. Obedience in the kingdom brings freedom, because it liberates you from the chaos and confusion of living outside the king's plan. Another essential aspect of living by kingdom culture is the value placed on relationships. In a kingdom, community is central. The well-being of the individual is connected to the well-being of the collective. Kingdom culture teaches that relationships are to be nurtured with love, respect, and understanding. There is no place for selfishness, division, or rivalry. Instead, citizens are encouraged to uplift one another, support one another, and work together for the common good. Living by kingdom culture means prioritizing unity and harmony in every relationship, whether it's with family, friends, or even strangers. Kingdom culture also emphasizes humility. While the world often glorifies power, status, and recognition, the kingdom operates differently. In the kingdom, greatness is found in serving others. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself, but about recognizing that your role is to serve the king and his people. When you live by kingdom culture, you understand that true leadership is about putting others before yourself, about using your position, influence, and resources to uplift and empower those around you. Humility is the foundation of kingdom living, because it reflects the heart of the king who serves his people with love and compassion. Integrity is another cornerstone of kingdom culture. In a kingdom, integrity means living in alignment with the values of the king, even when no one is watching. It's about honesty, transparency, and doing what is right, regardless of the circumstances. Kingdom culture does not tolerate deception, dishonesty, or corruption. Living by kingdom culture means that your actions match your words, that you are dependable and trustworthy in all that you do. Integrity builds a culture of trust and stability, where citizens can rely on one another and work together toward a common goal. Faith is a critical element of living by kingdom culture. Faith is not just a belief in the unseen, but a confident trust in the king's ability to provide and protect. When you live by kingdom culture, you walk by faith, knowing that the king has already set in place everything you need to fulfill your purpose. You don't live in fear or anxiety because you trust in the king's plan. This faith allows you to take risks, to step out of your comfort zone, and to pursue your purpose with boldness and courage. Faith is the driving force behind every action, every decision, and every dream in the kingdom. Ultimately, living by kingdom culture transforms every aspect of your life.
It brings clarity, purpose, and fulfillment because you are living in alignment with the King's will. You are no longer driven by the shifting trends of the world, but by the timeless principles of the kingdom. You become a reflection of the King's character, embodying his love, wisdom, and grace in everything you do. Living by kingdom culture is a daily commitment to rise above the world's standards and live according to a higher calling that brings life, joy, and peace to both you and those around you.